come to work at midnight to make dough from scratch. They start with the shop's popular yeast donuts since those take the longest to make. Bakers measure out flour and sugar with a scale before dumping each ingredient into an industrial steel mixer. The mixer blends flour, sugar, milk, butter, and eggs. On a typical day, bakers go through about 40 pounds of flour to make 1,000 donuts.
The only machine left back there is to mix it, but everything is done by hand. You saw he was hand cutting every donut and hand glazing them, and it makes a difference.
Bakers roll the dough about an inch thick. Any thinner and the donuts will shrink too much when they fry. Then they cut the donut into perfect rounds, some with holes and others without, depending on whether the donut has a filling. Now the donuts head into the proofing cabinet to rise. Typically, yeast donuts need about 3 hours to rise, which is why bakers start their shift overnight. But the timing can change based on a few factors, like the weather that day. In the winter, Peter Pan's donuts can take up to 4.5 hours to rise. But when it's hot or humid, it's much less than that.
Summertime with the humidity, I mean, you don't even have to put them in the proof box. You know, as you're cutting them and leaving them on the rack, they're proofing.
About 35 donuts fry until they turn golden brown, about a minute on each side. Yeast donuts head directly to the glazing station. But cake donuts need to cool for a few minutes, otherwise they'll break apart. Bakers line up 10 donuts on a long rod and submerge them into a thick honey glaze. They hang the rod on 2 metal hooks because
if you just leave it flat, it sort of sits on the top and it's too sweet. This way, it really runs off the whole donut.
There's blueberry buttermilk, sourdough, and the shop's best sellers, honey-dipped and red velvet cake flavors.
I don't think you can come here and not get a glazed donut. It's just like your classic go-to donut. Not too much going on, simple, airy, but yet filling and glazed like just as well as all the others.